Terrible parties and demonic wolves aside, I hope you enjoyed the previous video breaking down the acts of Act 1 of Diablo 4. We'll be continuing on with the second act in this video, and we will be releasing one act per day, so be sure to keep an eye out for that. Without further ado, let's get into the video. After leaving Narration, our first course of action is in search of a man by the name of Donan, a member of the Herodrim and an old friend of Lorath who could help us in our fight against Lilith. We arrive at his estate in Eldheim as Donan is having a discussion with his son Yorin. Yorin is asking his father to allow him to go out into the field with the other knights, but Donan would rather his son stay with him and study his old Herodrim tomes instead. We interrupt and mention that Lorath has sent us with a warning that an ancient evil walks the land, the demon Lilith. This garners Donan's attention as he asks how we came to have this information, but is quickly interjected by his son. He mentions that this could have something to do with what Donan saw. Donan describes an incident at his estate and asks us to meet him there to discuss the details before telling his son Yorin that he has his permission to go and meet with the other knights, telling him to be careful. When asked about Lorath, Donan describes him as a brother of the Herodrim, possibly the closest thing to a friend that Lorath has these days. When asked about the incident, he mentions that it occurred a few days prior during the dead of night. At first he thought it was just a nightmare, but unfortunately it turned out not to be the case. Some very interesting information can also be heard here, as Donan admits that it was actually him that took Rothmar's prophecy to Inarius, stating that he could never have imagined that Inarius would kill his own son over it, stating that the key is now in Lilith's hands, before saying that it must relate to her search for Astaroth. We head out and reach Donan's estate, where we can find more blood petals within his study. Upon touching them, we get another vision. Donan is seen studying late at night as a whole-ass portal appears in the middle of his study, whispers coming from it telling him to grant them entrance. Now, I must say, why the hell would you approach this thing? I mean, I would be doing cartwheels through the goddamn window if that were to happen to me. Donan stupidly enters the entrance, revealing Lilith in all her evil glory. He is understandably shocked, but I mean, what the hell were you expecting from a hell portal? Mickey Mouse? He mentions that he knows who she is, while Lilith repays the favor by saying the same, calling him old, tired, each day a struggle to live up to his own legacy. He asks Lilith what she wants with him and she responds, Astaroth. He tells her that he is dead, but she reaffirms that Astaroth cannot die, at least not by Donan's hands. I will admit, you could mistake this scene as going somewhere much less PG, but I can assure you, Donan's in some real trouble. She asks Donan what he did with him, but Donan orders her away, denying her permission. She mentions that he has grown frail in his older age, and offers to make him the hero he once was, before looking at the painting behind him, showing Donan with two other individuals. Lilith leaves moments after seeing the painting, while Donan continues to banish her. The cut on his lip is still bleeding, showing that it wasn't a dream. As we leave the estate, we're ambushed by local goatmen. Donan mentions that they've never actually dared to come this close to the estate before. We mention that it's likely Lilith's presence, drawing them in before mentioning the vision that we had in his study. He is distraught that the daughter of hatred was in his own home, worried that she might be furious that he cast her out. We ask who the other people in the painting are since Lilith's unusual fascination with it. He says that they are the druids Nafain and Airidah, who helped him slay Astaroth, before realizing that it's actually quite likely that since he resisted Lilith, she could question them about the demon next. He mentions that there are knights stationed among the nearby villages, and that they would have seen Lilith if she were to pass through, mentioning that we should go and ask them. We do, however, ask Donan about his relationship with Airidah and Nafain, and can quickly realize that they have become estranged with time. Airidah is now consumed with her task of watching over the dead, leaving Donan to wish that they could sit and discuss histories like they once did. While Nafain refuses to meet with Donan, angry that he has given up land to the Knights Penitent, calling him bitter, now living as a recluse and deep inside the woods. We ask why Lilith seems to believe that Astaroth is alive. Donan says that demons are arrogant creatures. They could never accept the idea that a mortal could vanquish someone like Astaroth. What concerns him is why she is looking for him, stating that the fact that Astaroth came from the realm of hatred, the same place that Lilith once called home, is possibly the answer. We travel to the nearby town of Brastag, the same place that Yorin is visiting, and speak to the chieftain. She tells us that there is a fog uphill where mad spirits are emerging and killing nearby people. We mention that we're looking for a demon that is passing through, and the chieftain confirms that they have seen her, saying that the demon went uphill to Airidah's domain. Yoren offers to guide us to Airidah since he knows the way from his father. This leads us to a sealed door that Yoren is able to open using Druidic language. We ask Yoren if his mother was a druid, which he denies, saying that his mother was more of a scholar, and since she died when he was young, he has learnt most of what he knows of his mother from her writings. We find an elegy for the people that died fighting Astaroth, created by Airidah. It has been corrupted as the Guardians begin to attack us. We come to the realization that they are now under the influence of Lilith, which is strange since they should only be able to be influenced by Airidah. We find a tomb further inside and can find runes that Yoren identifies as the work of Airidah, confirming that the corruption within was not caused by Lilith, but instead Airidah herself. We reach the village on the other side and speak to a local named Arlo. He says that Airidah came through with a horned woman, heading towards the top of the hill, the sound of Airidah's tail harper causing the madness to begin. We reach the top of the hill and can find Airidah sitting at the top. She mentions that only one of us will walk away from this, asking us to enjoy the storm for a moment. We mention that the dead that she controls are now killing her people. Airidah mentions that some people will die, but that is the way of nature, that it's a crucible. It devours the weak and makes the strong stronger, believing that whoever survives will save the land from hell. We point out that she has fallen for Lilith's lies, but she believes that it was her own choice. Lilith simply gave her the ability to do what must be done. We ask her what she gave her in return for that ability, but she says that all knowledge must be earned. We have a big old fight and manage to defeat Airidah. She quickly comes to terms with the loss, saying that the stronger prevails. We once again ask what she gave to Lilith, and she responds that she told her of the wards around Astaroth's prison and how to break them, stating that her people have forgotten what it took to defeat Astaroth and that they must learn again. If they cannot kill Astaroth, then how could they possibly stand against the full might of hell? We waste no time and head out towards Boglin, Nafain's domain. We can find a stone that welcomes travelers to the forest, where they can become one with nature. Very typical of a nature reserve, that sort of thing. However, written over the message is the saying, "Cathedral dogs not welcome." A little less typical of a nature reserve, but we progress. A nearby wolf leads us to Nafain, and let's just say that my dude is not doing very well, god damn. You could say he is half the man that he once was. He gives us a sniff and says that we stink like Donan, before calling him a coward for not coming himself. He mentions that Lilith did this to him, but he is beyond saving, asking us to find the demon, that she is to the north and is planning something. When we arrive, we can find glimpses of Lilith performing some form of ritual. It turns out to be the summoning of an amalgam of rage using the blood of Nafain. We manage to wound the creature, but it flees before we can land the killing blow. We return to Nafain and tell him what we found. He mentions that it's his own fault, that he made a pact with Lilith to help destroy the Knight's Penitent in return for the location of where Astaroth is hidden, Eldheim. He mentions that in her presence he lost control, that rage consumed him. He asks us to end the corruption, so we drive a big old spear into his chest. And look, I'm not going to get into the fact that how the hell this guy survived for hours hung to a tree like a Christmas ornament, cut in half, might I add, but dies to a little stick to the chest. But, whatever, let's continue. When we arrive at Eldheim, the place has been overrun by goatmen. The nearby commander of the Knight's Penitent mentions that the horned woman and her beast came through here. Nothing could stop them, not even their prayers, stating that the light has forsaken this place. We find Donan inside, and he mentions that Lilith could have killed him too, but she intentionally left him untouched, instead toying with him, wanting him to watch her destroy everything that he's built. He asks if we've seen Yoren when we came into Eldheim. We tell him that we didn't, and he says that there is still a way to stop her, but he can't do it alone. He says that Lilith is in an old chamber beneath the keep, the place where Astaroth is. He admits that he didn't kill him as the stories say, instead imprisoning him in a soul stone as a last resort, building Eldheim over the stone to contain the evil. He goes on to say that he has spent his life watching over it, keeping it a secret so Astaroth would never hurt anyone again. Not even his son knows. He apologizes for hiding this from us, but mentions that he couldn't risk a stranger knowing the truth. As we head towards the chamber, we can find bodies of the Knight's penitent members that were escorting Yoren, even finding his mace on top of one of the Knight's bodies. We ask Donan if she could possibly have taken Yoren somewhere. He begins to panic, asking what possible reason she would have since Yoren means nothing to her. We reach the chamber that contained Astaroth and can find more blood petals on the ground. It's vision time. We can see Lilith holding a soul stone as she mentions that the mighty Astaroth, the Charred Duke himself, badass name by the way, is now confined to a cage. Astaroth recognizes Lilith as she offers him a deal. Astaroth provides safe passage to a place she is no longer welcome, and in return for his freedom and more, offering Donan's son his pride and joy as a way for Astaroth to enact retribution on Donan for imprisoning him, but only if he gives Lilith what she wants. He agrees, and Lilith stabs the soul stone into Yoren's head before the vision ends. We tell Donan what we saw, and he becomes distressed. He says that there is still time. He says that he has spent half of his life studying the soul stone and that he knows its true nature. It will take time for Astaroth to overpower Yoren, and since he's taught his son well, he will be resisting the demon's influence. He mentions that the nearby Carragher is a likely location for Astaroth, since he wouldn't be able to resist all of the innocent lives. We arrive as blood petals begin falling from the skies above. Lilith speaking to Donan, mentioning that Yoren has been waiting for him. We can see that Yoren is not looking very human anymore. Astaroth tells Donan that he called out for him, wept until his tears became fire. Lilith tells Astaroth to do as he pleases, since she already has what she came for. We are left to fight Astaroth and the giant demon dog that was creating using Nafain's blood. After a long fight, we do come out ahead. Donan approaches the body, removing the soul stone from his head, reverting Yoren back to his old self, but unfortunately, he is dead. Donan apologizes to his son as he mourns him. Lorath once again narrates the scene, mentioning that Lilith and Astaroth have made a deal, but we're the ones that paid the cost. That our presence was no coincidence. Everything happened exactly as Lilith wanted. We just danced to her music. He mentions that Donan is shattered, his mind in grief, not her or answers. Nobody knew what Lilith was after or exactly what Astaroth had promised her, but we needed to recover and stop chasing phantoms. And that is the entire story of Act 2 of Diablo 4. We will once again return with Act 3 tomorrow. I hope that you found the video enjoyable and helpful, and if you did, please consider liking the video. And if you want to see more story-based content in the future, be sure to subscribe. Make sure to comment down below the word Yoren to let me know that you made it to the end. We have a whole bunch of videos on the channel already, so be sure to go and check them out and see if you like any of them. Until next time, peace.